Imagine losing your privacy, your personal space, and your right to say no, not because you did something wrong, but because people recognize your face. There's a weird rule in society where the more famous you are, the fewer boundaries people think you deserve. If a stranger followed you, touched you, or demanded access to your life, that would be terrifying, but when it happens to a celebrity, we call it normal, just part of the job. But I disagree, celebrities are human too. This isn't about feeling bad for famous people, it's about how we've normalized behavior that would be terrifying if it happened to you. Whether it's paparazzi showing up at private homes, fans crossing physical boundaries at concerts, or people forming fake relationships online, it all comes from the same belief that being famous means other people are owed access to them. So for today's video, we're going to be taking a look at a few cases where that mindset goes way too far. This first story honestly sounds fictional, and while the photos might be fake, the story is real. Back in the day, we had people making hand drawings or writing fan fictions, fantasizing about dating their celebrity crush. But with the rise of AI accounts, what was once something cute and harmless turned into something very disturbing. AI accounts pretending to date celebrities. One of the most viral examples right now is this TikTok account called K Harrington Edits AI, which has earned over 20,000 followers in just a few weeks. The account posts photos of themselves with Joe Keery, the actor who plays Steve Harrington in Stranger Things, making it look like they're in a romantic relationship. Some of the images are fairly innocent. We've all seen photos like this before, and there's nothing inherently wrong with them. When AI first started trending, everyone was generating images of themselves with their celebrity crush, maybe even kissing them, but for most people, that's where it stopped. The difference here is the scale and the intent behind it. This isn't just one or two images, it's an entire account dedicated to the idea with over 100 posts. At a certain point, it stops looking like fantasy and begins to look like obsession. Some of the images are very disturbing, crossing into sexual and deeply violating territory. And while the account has naturally received backlash, what surprised me is the account has also received many supporters, with people hyping her up. Whether or not her followers know the images are AI generated almost doesn't matter, because both possibilities are bad. Imagine going on a date with a girl thinking that she's the girl of your dreams, the woman you're gonna marry, until you accidentally stumble on her TikTok account and find not one, not two, but hundreds of AI generated photos of her pretending to date another man. It's not only scary for Joe Keery, but it's embarrassing for her. Joe Keery didn't sign up to this. He didn't consent to those photos, but his face, his name, and his identity are all being used to sell the illusion that he's emotionally available to strangers online. Fanfiction worked because everyone knew it wasn't real, but AI removes that clarity. It looks real, it sounds real, and for some, it starts to feel real. We've seen again and again how extreme idolization can escalate into real-world harm and put the lives of celebrities in jeopardy. Flip the scenario. Imagine if someone used your face, your name, and your likeness to roleplay a relationship for millions of strangers online to see. Would you be okay with that? And that mindset is exactly the problem, because for most people, they wouldn't be okay with that, but when it comes to a celebrity, they have no issue doing it. AI can be an incredible tool for creativity, but when it's used to deceive others or feed into illusions, that's when it becomes dangerous. And if this all sounds familiar, that's because we've seen versions of it before, even recently in shows like Baby Reindeer, where a woman constructs an imagined emotional relationship with a man who doesn't consent or reciprocate. In reality, the relationship doesn't exist, but in her mind, it does. And that's the question I keep coming back to with this account. Is this all for clout? Does she just want to get famous? Or does she genuinely believe that her relationship with Joe Keery is real? And with that, another thought that's crossed my mind is whether or not this girl is real. Maybe she is AI as well. Once people start believing that celebrities owe them access, it doesn't stop at AI photos. It shows up in real life too. Paparazzi are probably the clearest example of this. Paparazzi are like rats. They show up uninvited, invade personal space, and only leave once they've gotten what they came for, the cheese. I get it, they got a job to do, but at a certain point, that job turns into harassment. And I don't blame celebrities for sometimes acting the way they do.
Get the fuck out of the way! I can't see! There are cars there, motherfucker! Get out of the way!
Sexualization in the media is nothing new. Women are often portrayed in a way to appeal to the male gaze, but just because a woman is portrayed a particular way doesn't mean strangers are entitled to their body or their home. And that's exactly what happened with Sydney Sweeney. The American Eagle model opened up about photographers who showed up at her private home in Florida and literally tried to negotiate with their family for photos of her. According to her, they told her family, if you tell her to just come outside in a bikini, I'll take pictures and then I'll leave you alone. She wasn't on the red carpet, she wasn't at a public beach, she was at her own home with her family, including kids. Like I said, I get how paparazzi have a job to do, but everyone, including celebrities, have a right to privacy and a right to feel safe within their own home. Sydney even said she has photos of photographers hiding in bushes and in the ocean, showing up early in the morning and refusing to leave for hours. Some people out there make the argument that celebrities like Sydney Sweeney purposely sexualize herself and therefore are asking for it or even deserve it, but I disagree. Choosing to act or model in certain ads does not mean forfeiting your right to feel safe within your own home. And when fans start believing that celebrities owe them access, it doesn't just stop at AI photos or showing up to their private property. In some cases, deluded fans start believing that they're entitled to something far more personal, their physical body. Just a few months ago, Billie Eilish was walking through a crowd in Miami until one fan reached out past the barricade to touch her. And it wasn't just a quick tap or an accidental brush, the fan literally grabbed her and yanked her into the crowd.
Oh my God!
It was a terrifying moment for her, and the video instantly went viral. But part of the reason it blew up wasn't just the incident, it's what happened next. A fan who was standing nearby, now known online as the Red Bandana Girl, immediately chased the guy down and clocked him. She didn't hesitate, she gave up her front row spot and looked like she was about to fight the man until security intervened. People quickly started calling her a hero, some even joked that Billie should hire her as personal security, and even StubHub stepped in and rewarded her with tickets. From what I've read, the guy never faced any criminal charges, but I hope he learned his lesson and will never do such stupidity again. The guy might have just got too excited and made a dumb mistake, but for some, it's no mistake. It's intentional, it's calculated, and it's repeated. Over the past few years, a man online known as Pajama Man has built a reputation for invading celebrities' personal space, showing up uninvited, forcing interaction, and physically touching people without their consent. The most recent occurrence being in November when Ariana Grande was grabbed during a Wicked for Good premiere in Singapore. During the premiere, a man jumped over the barricades, stormed through photographers, and put his arm around Ariana.
Yes, finally, I dreamed about meeting Ariana Grande, and finally, my dreams became true.
We all need a friend like Cynthia Erivo because Ariana visibly showed discomfort, and just like the Red Bandana Girl, Cynthia immediately intervened and protected Ariana from this parasocial creep. The man was escorted by security and apparently arrested, but according to him, it didn't take long for him to be set free. And these posts that he made is what makes this so unsettling. This wasn't a fan getting excited in the moment and wanting to meet his idol. He's done this many times before. He's the same man who jumped on stage to touch Katy Perry, the same man who ran on the pitch in the 2023 Women's World Cup final, and the same man who's caused chaos at so many other events. Pajama Man, real name Johnson Wen, is someone who's motivated by negative reactions. He's an entitled individual who doesn't view celebrities as human. He uses them as props for his own content. I don't know what's scarier, this guy's lack of dance skills or his hairstyle. I would say he needs to get a job, but after posting countless videos where he harasses celebrities, I don't think his odds are very good. Which would explain why he made himself a GoFundMe, which in a span of 6 months has accumulated a whopping total of $42, which is honestly shocking. I didn't expect him to get any donations at all, so $42 is kind of impressive. So it turns out that Singapore didn't actually take what happened to Ariana lightly, because he ended up going to court where a judge found Johnson Wen guilty of being a public nuisance. He was then sentenced to 9 days in prison and banned from re-entering Singapore. And you hope that this made him learn his lesson and that he changed his ways, but unfortunately, he did not, because like I said, he fuels off negative attention. Just a few weeks later, Pajama Man was seen in Australia attending Lady Gaga's Mayhem Ball tour, looking like an evil villain in disguise. Based on the way he was dressed, you could tell that he was up to no good and wanted to create chaos. But thankfully, Lady Gaga fans still managed to recognize this master of disguise and immediately alerted security. Security wasn't taking any chances. As soon as they spotted him, they cut off his wristband and escorted him out the venue. The sad thing is that this guy fuels off negative attention. It doesn't matter how many people talk about him until he gets he's gonna keep doing it. And honestly, seeing the way he smiles when people are booing him, even if he was to get a good beating, He'd probably be laughing while getting beat up. And what makes situations like this even more serious is that for some artists, moments like these aren't just uncomfortable, they can be genuinely triggering. Ariana Grande has been open about living with PTSD following the 2017 Manchester concert bombing, where sadly 22 fans lost their lives and hundreds more were injured. So when someone jumps over a barricade, storms at them, and grabs them without warning, it's not just crossing a boundary, it's reopening real trauma. Being famous doesn't make someone less human, it just means their fear, discomfort, and trauma gets swept under the rug as they put on a fake smile. When you look at all of this together, the AI relationships, paparazzi showing up at private homes, fans crossing physical boundaries, it all points back to the same problem. Somewhere along the way, people start confusing fame with permission. We tell ourselves that this is just part of the job, that celebrities should expect it, that attention is a trade-off for success. But no job should come with the expectation that you give up your right to privacy, safety, and consent. And being famous doesn't mean you suddenly tolerate things the rest of us don't. I'm not saying celebrities deserve special treatment. I'm saying they deserve the same basic boundaries the rest of us expect. At the end of the day, celebrities are human too, and the more we forget that, the more dangerous this parasocial culture becomes. I'm genuinely curious about what you think about this topic, so leave a comment down below and let me know. But with all this being said, that's officially gonna do it, so until next time, it's been IvanSteff.